Hi, my name is Nurin binti AZMAN. Today I would like to explain about problematic scenario Mr. Ahmad. Mr. Ahmad, a businessman with a substantive RM 500,000. Mr. Ahmad was notified by the IRB through an audit that he failed to declare 200,000 in business income. For evading tax, Mr. Ahmad was fined 600,000. In order to clear up, Mr. Ahmad answered BINTI and give him an explanation of the procedure.
There's a responsibilities that Mr. Ahmad need to fulfill as a taxpayer. First, Mr. Ahmad required to pay the taxes according to the laws and regulation of the country or jurisdiction. Second, Mr. Ahmad need to register the tax identification and update information regarding to his personal income, and he need to keep honest business record to the LHDN. Next, Mr. Ahmad also should be aware about preparing the tax return and get knowledge about that.
Under the self-assessment regime, an individual will assume tax, bear the primary duty to revise his tax, compute his income tax liability, and account for his tax payable in the current year, as well as the final balance at the time he submit his return form BE and B to the tax authorities. Procedure of self-assessment system to Mr. Ahmad are: firstly, he need to registration as influencer, generate income. Then he will receive tax identification number. Next, income declaration. He is responsible in declaring her income accurately to IRBM. He also can claim legitimate business expenses related to him influencer activities to reduce taxable income. Next, he must maintain comprehensive records of his income, expenses, receipt, and invoice. Next is tax calculation. This calculation based on his declared income and permitted deductions.
Tax installment payments. If Encik Ahmad operates as a sole proprietor, he may need to make a tax payments in installment according to IRBM's schedules. Adjustments can be made by a standard line using CP 502. Next is a payment of tax. Pay any income tax owed by RBM by the due dates to meet your tax obligation as an influencer in Malaysia. Filing tax returns. Submit your income tax returns accurately and on time, typically by April for the following year. Fill out the forms provided by RBM and included necessary supporting documents. Amendment of return. You can amend your tax return within 6-month submission to IRBM, specific any additional income or tax payable along with details and any penalties. Review and adjust. Regularly review your tax situation and adjust your tax planning strategy as needed to comply with the tax laws and optimize. Finally, follow this step will help Encik Ahmad fulfill his tax responsibilities as an influencer in Malaysia.
Next is return and assessment. Trust body would submit their tax return within 7 months from the year end. 12 monthly tax installment on the estimate tax payable would be paid for the current year. Individuals having only employment income or investment income or both would file Form BE not later than due date. The e-filing allow an additional 15 days from due date for the submission of the respective return. Chargeable person submit his return to the DG. DG may accept the return and raise an assessment accordingly, or alternatively, the DG may reject the return and determine the tax payable based on the best of his judgment.
So, next, let us move to amendment of tax return. There is any errors, omission, or changes in circumstances overseen by LHDN, taxpayers must submit an amended return with corrected information. Then, LHDN review the amendment for accuracy and completeness upon receive the amended return. a received notice of assessment reflecting adjustment is issued to the taxpayer. Taxpayer must comply with the revised assessment, ensure the accuracy and integrity of tax assessment, allowing taxpayers to rectify errors or update information as needed.
Mr. Ahmad needs to follow Malaysian tax rules carefully to avoid problems. He must declare all the money he earns from different sources like job, business or investment. He has to do this by filling out tax form every year. If he doesn't declare some of his income, there are penalties. For instance, if Mr. Ahmad didn't report RM200,000 he has earned, he was fined RM60,000. This is because he didn't accurately tell the tax authorities about all his income, which is against the law. As a person who earns RM500,000 a year, Mr. Ahmad has to be responsible. He should keep all good records of his finance, fill out his tax form correctly, and pay the right amount of the tax on time. If he is unsure about anything, he should ask for help from a tax professional. It is important for Mr. Ahmad to understand and follow these rules to avoid getting into a serious trouble with the tax authorities.
Next, move to appeals that Mr. Ahmad can request to the LHDN. First, Mr. Ahmad must complete the Q form to dispute his income tax assessment. He should prepare 4 copies of this form and must be turned in for each assessment year. Next, he needs to mail a complete Q form to the LHDN. We move for overtime appeal. Mr. Ahmad can request an extension of time if he misses the deadline for appealing his income tax assessment. Furthermore, for appealing and appeals to LHDN, Mr. Ahmad also can make a written representation to SCIT within 21 days that given by KPHDN.